Hello! Hi, how are you guys? It's been a good week since I last saw you. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Anna English. Da, 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 ba, ba. And this is English like a native. I am so sorry I haven't been doing many live lessons recently. It's all because I've been working very hard on lots of other projects, mostly for you guys, but also for my other channels as well. And if you're not familiar with my other channels, then they are linked in the description box below. But today is very exciting because today we are doing the final episode in the British slang series. So if you are here, then you're probably here to learn English, and one of the most important things that you can make yourself familiar with is British slang, or even English slang, no matter whether you're working with American English or British English. Learning slang terms is really helpful because most natives will use slang when they're talking. And if you're not familiar with it, then you might misunderstand the natives or you may misuse the word yourself. So it's very important to become familiar with it. So I do have my patron Skype room open, so patrons feel free to send me some messages in the Skype room if you need to contact me during this lesson. And as always, I've made notes. Now we are covering the letters Q, V, W, X and Y. So we're doing the rest of the alphabet. It's not going to be as long a lesson as you think because actually there aren't that many slang terms under these letters. So let's get straight on in, and the very first slang word is a word beginning with Q, and it's the word quid. Quid. And a quid is basically just one English pound. 1 quid. A quid might get you a chocolate bar and a few penny sweets besides. A pound is not very much money, really. So a quid. If I say to you, I am quids in, if I say I'm quids in, then that means I've got lots of money. Yay, I'm quids in. I've just won some money, perhaps. I'm quids in. So that's a term you might hear, but most often people will say, can I borrow a quid? Do you have a quid I could lend? And the example sentence I've given here is, can someone please lend me 2 quid until tomorrow? Sorry, I obviously got distracted while I was writing that line. Can someone please lend me 2 quid until tomorrow? Let me put a question mark there. Okay, so that's nice and easy. All right, the second one on the list is the word quack. Quack. Now the word quack is normally the sound that a duck makes. Quack. Quack. But if we're using it in slang terms, quack can mean a doctor who is either pretending to have qualifications that he doesn't have, or a doctor who is just basically a fraud or a fake, someone who doesn't really have medical training or knowledge. They're just pretending. So we would refer to them as a quack. A quack. So the example sentence I've given here is, Carrie keeps insisting on visiting this quack who has convinced her he can cure her back problems with some strange concoction. A concoction is something you mix together, maybe without using a recipe. A concoction, you just mix random things together. So Carrie keeps insisting on visiting this quack who has convinced her he can cure her back problems with some strange concoction. Ooh. Okay, have you ever visited a quack? That's the question. All right, so as you know, anyone who normally drops a super chat will get a copy of these notes that I'm working with. But today, because it's the final session, is a very special session. So lots of you have asked me on many occasions, how do I get the notes? How do I get the notes? And some of you are watching this and it's not live anymore and you're unable to get hold of the notes because I only give the notes as a thank you to people who drop a super chat. But today I have spent about 4 or 5 hours putting all of the notes together and creating an ebook. And there's about 487 slang terms with examples in this book. It's about 42 or 43 pages long. I've even added some extra words in there that I haven't previously covered in any of these lessons. And it's basically the A to Z of British slang terms used commonly in the UK. Now, anybody today who drops a super chat, like Julia just has now, thank you Julia, that's very kind of you, she's just dropped €2. So anyone dropping a super chat today will get this ebook for free. So if you've dropped a super chat, then send me an email and I will send you over this ebook as a thank you for your support. However, if you're not watching live and you can't give a super chat, then you are still going to be getting a discounted offer. So this book is now going to be available on my website, which is linked below. And for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be on a special offer. So normally it will be $3.99. It's not very much. $3.99, the price of a meal deal. You might get a sandwich and a chocolate bar for that. But for you guys, for the next 2 weeks, it will be available for $1.99. So for $1.99, using the link below, go over to my website and you can purchase that for that price. Okay, so let's carry on. You guys are now quids in with that deal, and you'll get all of those slang terms sent straight over to you, downloaded to keep forever, and hopefully you won't need to visit the quack. Okay, so here we go. The next word begins with the letter V. So we're moving on to the next letter, and it's the word vac. If I ask you to get the vac and to vac the house, I'm talking about the vacuum cleaner. The vacuum cleaner. So I'm asking you to clean the carpets, and you run the vacuum cleaner. So I might say to you, can you please run the vac over the front room? We have guests this evening. Could you please run the vac over the front room? We have guests this evening. But it's also good to note that we sometimes call vac a hoover. In fact, I always call the vac a hoover. Hoover is an actual brand of vacuum cleaner, but over here we've adopted the word hoover to refer to vacuum cleaner. Okay, so the next one is this fun word, which is the word vamoose. Now, vamoose means to depart, to leave quickly. It's quite interesting because I think the origins of this word come from the Spanish word vamos, which means to go, let's go, vamos. But we've adopted it and slightly changed the pronunciation and the spelling to vamoose. So if I say, let's vamoose, I mean, let's go quickly. Or I could just say vamoose, means let's go. Okay, and the example sentence I've given here is, looks like the heavens are about to open, so let's vamoose. And the heavens opening means it looks like it's going to rain very heavily any minute now. Okay, looks like the heavens are about to open, so let's vamoose. Let's get under the covers quickly before it rains. Fabulous. I do like that word, vamoose. It sounds fun. Okay, so the next one refers to, it can be used in two different scenarios, and that's the word vegetable. Now, we all know a vegetable is something you eat, like a carrot or a potato is a vegetable. But when I'm using it as a slang term, I might be using it to refer to a person. So if a person is referred to as a vegetable, they're either brain damaged, very unwell, brain damaged, and unable to move their body or really communicate in any way. They're a vegetable. They're just very still, like a vegetable would be in a vegetable bowl. Or they are perhaps referring to someone who's very low, very depressed, and they don't want to do anything. Or yes, just someone who's having a lazy day, perhaps. You could say they're a vegetable. You look like a vegetable. You're a vegetable. So let me show you the example sentence I've put here. So I've put, she was such a vibrant and energetic young lady until she fell off her horse. Unfortunately, she's a vegetable now. So unfortunately, she got brain damage and now she can't do anything. So therefore, she is a vegetable. Okay, I hope that is clear. So the next one is similar to that, to veg out. If I say I'm going to veg out, I mean I'm going to do nothing. I'm just going to relax. And the example here is, Tom likes to sit in his undies. Do you remember what this means? It means his pants, his underwear. Tom likes to sit in his undies and veg out after a hard day's work. Don't we all? Tell me, do you sit in your undies and veg out after a hard day's work? Okay, lots of lovely comments coming through on the chat room there. Thank you guys, you're being very sweet. Okay, so veg out, that's nice and easy. We do use that one often. And the next one I use all the time, and it's the word veggie. If you're a veggie, it means you're a vegetarian. You don't eat meat. Now, there are different aspects to this. There are some veggies who are actually technically pescatarians, but they might call themselves vegetarians. And these are vegetarians who do eat fish. And then you've got the other extreme, which is a vegan who eats no animal products at all. So no eggs, cheese, anything like that. And yes, they're a vegan, but sometimes people just use the term vegetarian to cover those three loosely. But technically a vegetarian is someone who will eat dairy products, they just won't eat dead animals, basically. And because I'm a vegetarian, I often talk about being a veggie and eating veggie dishes and eating veggie options. I will ask for a veggie option in a restaurant. And the example sentence I've given here is, we ordered a veggie pizza, especially for you, and 2 meat pizzas for the carnivores. And if you don't know, a carnivore refers to a person who eats, or an animal even, who eats meat. Yes, Harrison's absolutely correct, saying that vegans also don't wear leather. So yeah, so they don't get involved with animal products at all. So they don't wear leather, they don't eat dairy, they don't eat meat or fish. Okay, so the next one is the word vino. Vino basically refers to wine. Do you remember the previous lesson? I think it was on the slang terms beginning with P lesson. I talked about another slang term for wine, but it was specifically for cheap wine. Do you remember what that word was? Beginning with P. Let's see if anyone gets it. Okay, so vino refers to wine. And the example sentence I've given here is, open a bottle of your best vino and let's catch up properly. Open a bottle of your best vino and let's catch up properly. And to catch up is to find out somebody's news. So to catch up with all of their news, to find out what's been going on in your absence. Let's have a catch up. Okay, and if you can't remember the other name for wine, the slang term for cheap wine is plonk. A bottle of plonk. Okay? All right, so the next one on the list is one that you have probably heard 1,000 times given that you are learning English, and it's the word vocab. It's just a shortened way of saying vocabulary. I use it all the time. I certainly use it when I'm writing as well because it's just a quicker way. It's a very long word, isn't it? Vocabulary. So we just say vocab. Vocab. It's quite easy, quick and easy to say. And I've just given the sentence, learning English vocab at the crack of dawn makes me ratty. Makes me ratty. Can you remember what the word ratty means? We covered it in the previous lesson. Hopefully you remember. Some of you can't stay because you've got to go now. If you can't stay, thank you for being here. Hope you've given us a thumb up before you leave, and you can always catch up with this lesson at a later stage. Thank you for checking out. Okay, the next one is the phrase wacky backy. Wacky backy. Now, if something's wacky, it means it's a bit crazy. And backy is short for tobacco. So wacky backy means crazy tobacco, technically. But what it actually means, it's referring to marijuana. So the drug marijuana, which is also called weed or pot, are the other ways that we talk about this particular drug. But wacky backy is a slang term for marijuana. And so if anyone says to you, do you have any wacky backy? Then you know exactly what they're asking for. And I would say, no, I do not. So the example sentence I've given here is, I can't prove it, but I'm certain that 2 of the year 11 boys were smoking wacky backy by the school gates at lunchtime. And just so you know, in the UK, year 11 boys are boys who are in their final year at high school. So year 11 boys are normally around 15 or 16 years old. Okay, so the next one is something I'm guilty of all the time, which is waffling. If you waffle, you talk too much. And I certainly do waffle a lot. So to waffle is to talk too much. So I could say, listen to me waffling on. I do apologise. Tell me about your holiday instead. So stop me talking. Tell me about your holiday. Does anybody else here waffle? Are you wafflers? Of course, a waffle also refers to a type of food which is very popular in America. We don't really have waffles so much over here, but I know a waffle is something you have for breakfast in the US. Is that right? Anywhere else in the world eat waffles? Do tell. Do tell. We don't really have them here. Okay, so how many people do we have in? 179 people. I guess I was very late in letting people know that I was going to be live today. So if you guys can help me out just by clicking the share button, because I didn't really publicise this lesson today, that'd be really great. And let's push those numbers up. And let's share this evening together, this final lesson together. Okay, and while you're doing that, the next word is the word wangle. Wangle. To wangle something is to get a good deal on something. So if I'll use the example sentence here. I managed to wangle us a great deal on flights. So we're going on holiday. I managed to wangle us a great deal on flights. The hotel may cost us an arm and a leg, but I will try to wangle some sort of discount on that too. So do you remember, something costs you an arm and a leg, and that was in the previous lesson as well. That means it's very expensive. Very expensive. So I've managed to get us a good deal on flights. I've wangled us a good deal. The hotel is going to be very expensive, but I will try to wangle. I'll try to get a good deal with a discount on the hotel as well. Okay? So see if you can wangle it so that I get 200 people watching live right now. We're only 12 off. Can you wangle that for me? Can you get me a good deal on that? Okay, so the next one, oh, I love this phrase, warts and all. Warts and all. And we do use this, as bizarre as it seems, we do use this regularly. So warts and all means as it is, however it comes, the good and the bad, I'll take it as it is. So the example I've given here is, I want to marry you because I love you. Warts and all. I love you no matter what. Okay? So even if you are bad-tempered in the morning, if you're ratty because you didn't get your waffles, or if you smell bad, it doesn't matter. I love you, warts and all. And if you're not sure, a wart is actually something on your skin. It's like a big growth on your skin, and it's usually quite unattractive to have a big wart. It's not very nice. So witches, at Halloween, witches, you'll see witches depicted all over the place on television, on adverts, and they normally have big warts, big growths on their nose, on their lips. And so you're saying, I love you with your warts and all, your unpleasant bits. Okay, I'm waffling, so I'm going to carry on. All right, the next word is the word wasted. Now, you know what waste is? Waste can either be rubbish or something that you don't want or something that's left over. But if I say I am wasted, that would mean I am very drunk. Do you remember in previous lessons, I think it was the slang words beginning with S lesson, we had numerous words to describe being very drunk. We seem to have a lot here in the UK. But wasted is another one to add to that list. And so the example sentence I've given here is, I can't drive home, I am wasted. And in fact, I have to tell you, I don't drink very often, but I went to a Halloween party at YouTube on Friday with lovely English, with Lucy, and with Papa English as well, and Joel and Leah, and Tom from Eat, Sleep, Dream English, lots of English teachers there. And I was wasted by the end of the night. It snuck up on me. I didn't eat very much. I think that was the problem. So I was wasted. So never again. I woke up with a terrible hangover. Okay, so the next word, this is a fun one and one you should be aware of. It's the word wedgie. Wedgie. So if you have a wedgie, it basically means that your underwear has kind of risen up and it's very uncomfortable on your private areas. In a lot of cases, people will give you a wedgie on purpose as a prank or as a punishment for some reason, where they'll run up behind you, they'll take your underwear from the back and they'll pull it up. Ouch, right? And they give you a wedgie. So to give someone a wedgie, very uncomfortable. Usually it's the boys who do it, not the girls. Yes. Have you ever had a wedgie? Has anyone ever given you a wedgie? Okay, so I'll show you how it's spelt here. And the example sentence is, the boys gave David a wedgie as punishment for not downing his drink. To down your drink is to drink your drink in one go. Even if you have a full glass of wine or beer or a large gin and tonic, if someone says down it, you have to drink it in one go. Okay. Okay, so lots of you asking questions and commenting here. I'm sorry if I'm not responding to you. It's very difficult. But Harrison has said, we use wasted in American English too. We also sometimes say drunk as a skunk. Yes, we say drunk as a skunk as well. I'm not sure why that is. If you're drunk as a skunk, I don't know. Do skunks walk in a zigzag way or something? I don't know. It'd be interesting to know the origin of drunk as a skunk. If anybody knows, please do share it with us. Okay, so we are on 195 subscribers. Viewers. It'd be nice if we can get 200. All right, the next one is the word well. Now, well is used often. You could say, I am well, I'm feeling well, which means I'm feeling good, everything is fine, I'm feeling well. I'm not sick, I am well. You can use it to start a sentence when you're starting a story. It's kind of like an interjection type word. It's like, well, you know. But sometimes you'll hear people using it in the same way as the word very. So for example, if I say I'm very happy, some people might say I'm well happy. It's not something I use very often, but I do know a lot of people that do this. So you might say I'm well happy, or I'm well angry, or I'm well upset. And it's just basically meaning very. But it's very informal. So here's the example sentence I've given here. Apparently they were well upset about Brexit. Apparently they were well upset about Brexit. Okay. So the next one we have here. Oh, this is a great word. And this is the word wine. Wine. It's not wine, is it? It's whinge. Whinge. That's my dyslexia there. Looking at that word and I can't tell what it says. Anyone else here suffer with dyslexia? Sometimes I just look at a word and I can't see it. So to whinge, if you whinge, you complain. Is it whinge or is it wine? Now I'm confused. Forgive me. Let me double check. Cambridge is my saviour dictionary. Cambridge, show me the phonetics. If anybody here doesn't already know phonetics, I did do a video recently teaching you how to use phonetics so that you can learn how to say any word with an English or even American accent. The Cambridge Dictionary sorts you out with both American and British English. So here we go. If you can hear this.
Whinge.
There you go. It gives you an example.
Whinge.
That's American.
Whinge.
That's British English. So whinge. And what it does is also give you the phonetics as well. So not all of them have a sound bite, but they do give you the phonetic breakdown, and it really helps you if you're unsure how to pronounce a word. So yeah, phonetics is really, really great. And if you did miss that video, it's the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet video. Super helpful. So whinge. Thank you, Cambridge. So whinge, to complain. If you whinge, then you're being annoying, basically. You're whinging, you're complaining. You can also, whinging can mean like crying. So when a baby kind of cries, or a toddler's like, oh, mum, I don't want to. They're kind of whinging. They're not really crying. It's called whinging. So our trip was a complete disaster because my mother-in-law was whinging every step of the way. I'm sure some of you have had an experience of that. A whinging mother-in-law. I'm not married, so I don't have a mother-in-law, but I must say my boyfriend's mother is lovely. She never whinges. Okay, so the next one is the word wimp. If you are a wimp, then you are an unassertive person. You're someone who is afraid of doing something. You don't want to push yourself forward to do something. Okay, so if someone calls you a wimp, they basically mean you're being a scaredy cat, is another way of saying it. A scaredy cat, someone who's unassertive. And the example sentence I've given here is, they all called me a wimp because, but I couldn't find the courage to make that phone call. They all called me a wimp, but I couldn't find the courage to make that phone call. What phone call did they want to make? And I'll let you into a little secret, actually. Because of my dyslexia, I used to be very, very nervous about doing business phone calls when you'd have to phone people up and spell things over the phone or take dictation. If someone tells you things on the phone, you have to write it down, like addresses and names and things like that. I would be petrified that I would make a mess of it. I would make a mistake that would be detrimental to the business. And so I used to really shy away from answering the phones at work when I used to work in like offices and things. So yes, I was a wimp when it came to answering the phone. What were you a wimp over? Tell me, what scared you? Okay, moving on. So I have wind up. Wind up. So a wind up is like a joke. So you could say, is this a wind up? Is this a joke? Or you can say, are you winding me up? Are you teasing me? Are you joking me? So is this a wind up? Are you winding me up? So there's two different ways of using it there. And here we go. Why is there a cement mixer in my bedroom? Please tell me that this is a wind up. You are winding me up, aren't you? I'm sure if you found a cement mixer in your bedroom, you would be upset as well. You'd say, is this a joke? Are you joking me? Cool. Okay, so you can also use wound up. Now, wound up is different to wind up. Wind up is joking, teasing, but to be wound up means that you're angry, frustrated, or just highly emotional. So, for example, you can wind up the dog and the dog will be wound up. And that's different to joking. It means that the dog is now hyperactive, the dog is angry, or the dog is frustrated. If I say, I'm really wound up today, I feel really wound up, I don't know why, then that means I'm feeling very angry or very frustrated or ratty, if you remember the meaning of that word. It obviously just means irritated. Okay? So, are you wound up right now? I hope not. The example sentence I've given here is, don't throw that ball in the house. Your father is already quite wound up. And if you break something with that ball, he'll be very angry. All right, let's move on. The next one is wonky. I love this word. If something is wonky, then it means it's not straight. So it's wonky. And you might say, is it me or is that picture wonky? Is it me or is that picture wonky? A bit wonky even. And I'm saying, is that picture a little bit unstraight? Does it need straightening up? And we use this all the time as well. Is it me or is it cold? Is it me or does this sandwich taste like fish? Is it me or is the earth shaking? Is it me or does he look like Bob Geldof? Is it me? And so this is something we do a lot as natives. We just want people to agree with us that we're right, that they also are experiencing what we're experiencing. Is it me or... So you should try that one. So Harrison has said, correct me if I'm wrong, but you could also say to someone is feeling wonky. I haven't experienced that myself in the UK. I wouldn't say I feel wonky. Is that the case in America? I'd be interested to know, actually. But I haven't known it to be used that way in the UK. So let me just have a quick check in on my patrons. Patrons, are you guys all right? You're very quiet over there in Skype room. You've all said hello, but no questions coming through. So I hope you're well. Just so you know, patrons, any patrons will also be getting a copy of the complete A to Z of Slang book. So any patrons will automatically, later today, once this is finished, I'll be uploading the A to Z book for patrons on the Patreon site. So look out for that one. Okay, so the next one we have on the list is wrap up. Now I use this every lesson, or every live lesson anyway. And if you remember, wrap up means to bring a session to a close. So I say I'm going to wrap up now, and it means I'm going to start pulling the lesson to a close. Lots of you are talking to me in French and in Spanish here. I can't really respond, not well, and also I'll probably stay on after the lesson finishes to have a quick chat with you guys anyway. Okay, but thank you for trying. It's good for my reading practice. Okay, so I'm not wrapping up right now, but let's use this example sentence. Let's wrap up with a few questions, then we will take a coffee break. Let's wrap up with a few questions, then we will take a coffee break. Oh, I haven't drank coffee in 3 weeks and I'm really missing it. I might have to have a coffee in the next few days. So now we're on to X, and you might have seen this, Xmas. Xmas. Xmas is basically just a short way of saying or spelling Christmas. I must state that actually this is more commonly written than it is spoken. Not many people say Xmas, or probably about 40-50% say Xmas, but it will be written a lot. Xmas cards, Xmas shopping, Xmas lunch. When talking about Xmas in writing, when we write about Xmas, we use Xmas. It's quicker and it's easier. So if you do celebrate, then you might consider using Xmas instead of Christmas. And I've written here, you should come to my house for Xmas dinner. Yay! Please come. I won't burn the dinner, I promise. All right, we're coming to the end now. So the last couple of words here are yakking. Yakking is the same as chatting a lot or talking a lot. So the example here is, we were yakking away, completely oblivious to the world around us. We were yakking away, completely oblivious to the world around us. And to be oblivious is to be, to not know. So we completely had no idea what was going on around us. We were completely unaware. Okay? And then the final word is yonks. I love this word. I use this quite a lot. Yonks means a long time. So if I bump into you unexpectedly and I go, oh, wow, I can't believe you're here. I haven't seen you in yonks. I haven't seen you in a long time. So there we go. I told you it wouldn't be that long a lesson. So that's all of those words for today. Now, as I said, there is this ebook that I mentioned at the beginning. So the ebook is basically a nicely formatted collection of all the slang terms plus a handful of others, equating to 487 slang terms that we commonly use in the UK at the moment, so that if you consume this book of 487 phrases or words, then you'll have a good idea what most natives are talking about when they talk in an informal situation. And so I've put it all together, 43 pages, and the book at the moment is free to anyone who's dropped a super chat. So today it's Julia, and also free to patrons. And it's going to be on sale at a discounted price for the next 2 weeks. For anyone who goes and buys it in the next 2 weeks, it will be £1.99. Basically the price of a cup of coffee here in London. So you buy me a coffee and you get the full list that's taken me hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to put together, with example sentences as well. If you are interested in that, then it is down in the link in the description box below. Just take the link over to my website and you can get it there as a direct download. I would also suggest that you are over on Instagram following me and all the other English teachers, because there's some incredible things that the English teachers are putting out on Instagram. I'm having a lot of fun watching everyone's creativity. I'm specifically doing a lot of pronunciation practice, so if you want to improve your speaking with a little lesson every day, it's all free. So go and add me on Instagram and come and follow and join in the fun there. And that's it, guys. So I'm going to stay on for the next 5 minutes and talk to you guys in the chat room. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining me on these slang lessons. There are plenty of other lessons here for you to watch, over 200 videos, and I'm trying to put up videos virtually every day. So do come on back and see me soon. All right. I will be back live again this week. I promise. I'll let you know on Instagram and Facebook when that will be. Otherwise, take care. Have a lovely evening and goodbye.